You've probably seen the headlines and heard the chatter. There's a really intense debate happening right now in New Zealand about immigration. So in this explainer, we at Webfit News are going to take a step back from all that noise and just look at the data, the history, and the economic reality behind it all.
And this is the comment that really kicked things off. It's a statement that has split the conversation right down the middle. For some, it rings true. For others, it sounds incredibly dismissive.
So instead of just adding another opinion to the pile, we're going to ask a really simple question. Is that claim actually supported by the facts? Let's follow the evidence and see where it leads. Now, just so you know where we're coming from, our role here at Webfit News isn't to take sides. It's to unpack these kinds of claims using verified data and to provide the context that so often gets lost in these heated debates. We're aiming for clarity here, not condemnation.
You know, to really understand what's happening today, we have to look at the past. Migration isn't just some recent trend in New Zealand's story. It's literally the foundation of the entire country.
I mean, think about it. From the very first Polynesian explorers, every single major chapter of New Zealand's development has been powered by people coming from somewhere else. In the 1870s, it was migrants building our railways. After World War II, they filled critical labor shortages. And today, they're staffing some of our most important high-skill sectors.
Okay, so let's get into the economic reality of today. Looking at data from Treasury and MBIE, the numbers are pretty stark. Migrants contribute way more in taxes than they use in public services. We're talking about a net surplus of almost $3.3 billion.
And here's where it gets really interesting. If you break it down on a per-person basis, the average migrant adds over $3,500 to the public purse every single year. That is almost 4 times more than the average New Zealand-born person. So, far from being a drain, the data shows migrants are actually helping to subsidize our public services.
All right, with that economic context sorted, let's circle back to that idea of the Uber driver. Who is this person, really? It's time to pull that stereotype apart.
The rhetoric suggests we're talking about low-skill people doing low-value jobs, but the reality on the ground is often the complete opposite. A lot of these drivers are highly qualified professionals. We're talking doctors, engineers, IT specialists who are driving just to pay the bills while they fight through a slow, complicated system to get their overseas qualifications recognized. It's a sign of a powerful work ethic, not a lack of skill.
And you can see this mismatch in the data. Yeah, about 70% of migrants do find work that matches their skills, which is great. But look at that other number. Almost 1 in 5 are in jobs that don't match their qualifications at all. Many of them say flat out that they are overqualified for the work they're doing. And this dependency is huge. Just look at our essential sectors. Over a fifth, 1 in 5 of our entire healthcare workforce is made up of migrants. In a very real way, they are the backbone of our hospitals and our clinics. In fact, let's get even more specific. Get this. A staggering 40% of all registered doctors practicing in New Zealand right now got their primary qualifications overseas. Without them, there are parts of our health system that would just grind to a halt.
So if we have all these incredibly skilled people already here, why aren't they all working in their fields? Well, this gets us to the real problem. And it's not about the individuals. It's about a system that creates what experts call brain waste.
Brain waste is exactly what it sounds like. It's when a country fails to recognize and use the talent it has already welcomed in. It's a massive, massive loss of potential, both for the person and for the country as a whole.
Okay, let's make this feel real. For a doctor from certain countries, the path to practicing medicine here is just brutal. First, they have to pay around 10 grand for a registration exam. Then they have to somehow find a supervised job, but all the local graduates get first dibs on those spots. The result? They can end up waiting up to 5 years for a placement, all while our hospitals are crying out for more staff.
So let's just be crystal clear about this. This is not a failure of the migrant who is working hard and trying to support their family. It is a fundamental failure of the system to efficiently use the skills that it so desperately needs.
Now, of course, it's really important to say that the public's concerns about population growth are not just made up. The pressure on housing, on our infrastructure, on traffic congestion, those are very real, legitimate challenges that we have to deal with.
But, and this is the crucial point for having a productive conversation, we have to separate those real, systemic challenges from misplaced blame. The data shows migrants actually provide a fiscal surplus that could help pay for new infrastructure. So the problem isn't the people. It's the planning.
So where does all this leave us? Well,
Instead of just arguing over sound bites, maybe the best thing we can do is to start asking some better, smarter questions to move this whole debate forward.
For instance, is the real issue the number of people coming here, or is it our failure to properly use the incredible talent of the people who are already living among us? And why do we, as a country, seem to just accept this huge brain waste as a normal, unavoidable part of immigration, especially when we know how badly we need these skills? And finally, what would a smarter, more efficient system actually look like? A system that gets a fully qualified doctor out of a rideshare and into the hospital emergency room where they are so desperately needed. The whole point of this explainer from Webfit News was to inform and hopefully encourage a more evidence-based discussion. The data is pretty clear. New Zealand wasn't just influenced by migration, it was built by it. And today, our economy and our key services depend on it. We invite you to engage with these facts and share